so excited about this kind of stuff. So the ironic thing is that most of the people in this room I know, and I probably sat down and had coffee with you and already talked about all this same stuff anyway. It's funny, I was looking at some people in the audience, like Melanie and I met probably a year and a half ago and had coffee, and we're talking about real estate and travel. And ironically, like 2 months later, we were on the same international flight with our families that we had just kind of figured out when we were meeting for coffee that we were doing the exact same thing. They already do some travel hacking too.
Well, we have you to thank for that though, because when you posted about the going.com, that was...
That's right. Sometimes I do, if I see really good flight deals, that's basically the only thing I do on social media for personally, like if I see good flight deals.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that, yeah. I posted
But I didn't know when we booked our flight that you were also going to Dublin, so that was a fun little surprise. All the places.
I was leaving the house too, and my wife was like, "Why are you wearing that ugly hoodie?" And so you'll see as I built this slideshow, I kind of did everything with a reason. But this hoodie has a little Homer, Alaska patch on it, and I'm wearing this because we did a really cool trip to Alaska like 8 years ago, and we paid $50 round trip for our tickets. So just like a bunch of little things that I put in the slideshow, just to kind of let you guys know little things that we've done, and I'm dying overheating up here, so I'm gonna take that off. What?
Oh, it went back.
Okay. So this is my family. This is actually on the same trip that Melanie was on with her family at the same time. We weren't traveling together, but this is Northern Ireland. We're at Giant's Causeway. It's a World UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is a trip that we went on using some of the same tips that I'm gonna treat or show you guys. So every single picture that's on here, I'm just gonna give you guys a quick little idea of like where it is and what we did to kind of go on that trip. But first of all, travel hacking, this is just kind of an overview of stuff I'm gonna talk about. So this is the flow of the talk tonight, and you'll probably tell as I'm stumbling through these slides. And I've never given this presentation before. These are all brand new slides. If you have a question or something doesn't make sense, please raise your hand. If it just seems like a mess, please tell me that. I'll clean it up for the next time. So what is travel hacking? How difficult is it? Common terms and definitions as you guys go out and start kind of figuring things out on your own. My personal methods, ways you can earn points, ways you can redeem points, and miscellaneous tips to make life easier on the road. So stuff that everywhere we go with our 3 kids. And so I always tell people it's really fun 80% of the time, and it's pure unadulterated health. So there's a lot of stuff that we do to kind of make it easier for us and for the kids to make things go a little bit smoother too. So this was a cruise that we went on. This was, I think, 8 years ago, but we paid cash for the cruise, but it was out of Florida. We flew the entire family for free. Actually flew my sister, my mom, and one of my nieces out there for free, just using points. We stayed in Miami for about 4 or 5 days and rented a car. We did all that with points. So the only thing we paid for basically a 2-week vacation with the cruise was just the cruise itself. And on the cruise, your food and everything's taken care of. So our whole family did that entire trip for, I think, maybe $2,000. That was a while back. Okay, so I'm curious. I mean, I think most people are in this group because they're interested in real estate investing, but I'm assuming some of you guys are here tonight because you want to learn about travel and traveling for less expensive and how that can work with your business. So I'm just curious if you guys can share. Does somebody have like a bucket list trip that they really want to do? Nobody here has a trip? What? Italy? Italy. What do you like about Italy?
The food, the architecture, the history.
Cool. Who else? I saw another hand over here. Melanie?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica?
Yeah.
What about Costa Rica?
I want to see the jungles, I want to see the sloths, I want to go through the rainforest, I want to go to the beaches. I think it'd be really fun for families.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. One more.
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Joey just got back from Japan and he used points too, so you guys might connect. I want to go to Japan too. I have not been to Japan. So I'm assuming people are figuring out how to travel more. Obviously, there's a balance between like going on some of these longer trips, or if it takes you 3 days to get somewhere, it's tough to do that if you only have 2 vacation days. Can't help you with that part, other than everybody's in this room trying to find financial freedom in some way and free up their time. And I know everybody in this room has the motivation to do that. And so, like I was saying, these things kind of go hand in hand. As you ramp up a business and use some of these things that I'm telling you, they feed each other. You get more free time and you can actually do some cool stuff for a lot less money too. I talk to a lot of people that they want to travel out because they want to do first class stuff, like, you know, stay in nice hotels or fly first class. I don't do that. You saw I have 3 little kids, and I'm not wasting time or energy or money on expensive stuff because they break everything they touch. But there are some people, especially like younger couples, that's their thing, is that they would never fly first class or stay in a fancy hotel except for if they can find a way to do it for free. And so it's kind of a cool way to do that. And we've done a couple things that we never would have done that were like that just because of circumstance. This photo is in a cafe in Paris, and I included this one. For one, we took our entire family on this trip to Europe, and we found like a crazy flight. We flew round trip, we flew into Paris and flew back from Rome. And the entire trip for our entire family for those flights was about $1,600. We actually included this one because these 2 people that we're having coffee with are clients of ours that live in Paris that bought a house in Boise to rent out. So we helped them and we managed the property for them. So it was really cool. We went there, we got to go and meet these guys, and part of our trip was technically like a business route because we're meeting with clients. Okay, next up, your favorite trip so far. So we talk about this all the time when we're planning trips in our family too, but I'm just curious, I'm gonna get a little feedback from you guys. Who has like a beach that they just love, that they went to one time or that they remember going to? John?
Eagle Beach in Aruba.
In Aruba, Eagle Beach. What did you love about that beach?
How wide it was and how soft and white the sand was,
Yeah.
and the warm water, the whole thing.
I've never been to Aruba, so I've done that to the list too. What about most beautiful mountain range? Who here has a mountain range or like a mountain destination that they love? Yes, sir.
Switzerland, Italy.
Switzerland?
Nice.
Yeah. I've heard that those are beautiful. I've not been to Dolomites. How about we'll skip down to the bottom. What's the most fun place you've ever been? Just a place that you love to go because it's fun. What was that?
I said Boise, Idaho.
Everybody knows Boise, Idaho. It's like the party destination. Yeah.
My sisters and I went to Disneyland without our kids, and it was amazing.
That sounds pretty fun. We actually, I think I'm gonna have a slide here. We took our kids to Disneyland a couple of years ago for the first time, and it was, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like monsoon coming through Southern California in January, a couple of years ago from now. And the day we were there, I experienced rain like I have never experienced before, but no one was there. And so we just went like, there was no lines, we were just going back to back to back on all the rides, and we're completely drenched, but it was like I included this picture on here. This is my wife, Heather. Do you guys know who the other guy is?
David Green.
That's David Green. So he used to host the Bigger Pockets podcast. Now he has his own podcast. She actually went to the National NARPM. They call the Broker Owners Conference. It's the National Association of Residential Property Managers. It was in Jacksonville last year. She went with a girl that we work with named Molly. But they both flew down there for free on points. They stayed in a fancy hotel for points. They got a rental car for points. So they did that whole trip for free. She got to meet David Green. Okay, so what is travel hacking? I'm gonna get to the meat of it. And John, you let me know if I'm talking.
Yeah, you're good, and you're welcome. That's showing too, if you wanna kinda.
What's that?
You could also stand.
Oh,
Can everyone see?
I guess I can go.
Either.
Oh, there's a screen up here too.
Yes.
So travel hacking is just a way that you can travel cheaper or less expensively or for free in some cases, or do some really cool like high-end stuff that you might not have done otherwise. And so I like to preface this when I'm talking to people is just using a reference point everyone in this room is probably familiar with, is how this is done and the method you use. It's just as contentious, or maybe more so than real estate. You know, like wholesalers think that all the flippers are idiots because they're buying all these properties and they have all this liability. And the buy and hold people think that the flippers are crazy because they're paying all these taxes. And whatever your method is the right way. So I'm going to show you guys the way that we do it. That doesn't make it the right way or the best way. It's just the thing that we found that works for us. And it's really fairly specific. So I just want to throw that out there, that if you leave here and start doing your own research, you're going to read a bunch of articles and blogs, and you're going to run into pages where they do totally different than we do. Maybe that would work better for you, but we're all about volume. We want to do as many trips as we can. There's 5 of us, so we just want to get out and see as much as we can. I'm 6'2", but I don't care if I'm sitting in coach for 10 hours on a flight. If that means that the whole family comes and we'd be gone for a couple weeks, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if we're flying first class. I don't care if we're staying in a nice hotel. If we're out doing cool stuff, then that's all I care about. So this picture is last year. We were in Scotland, so we're actually on Loch Ness there, and you can't see right behind my head just at that picture, but the Loch Ness monster popped up. Barely missed it. Almost got a picture. So in this presentation, I'm just going to talk to you about the two things that we focus on, and there's really only I'm calling them currency, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But there's two things that we do. We collect Chase Ultimate Rewards and Southwest Rapid Rewards points, and mostly the Southwest ones because we're not in an international airport here. And so if you want to go on an international trip, you have to get to an international airport, and sometimes that's more expensive than the flight itself. And so there's a lot of ways through Southwest that you can fly out of Boise and get into it for free and end up in an international airport. So that kind of bridges that gap. So common terms and definitions in travel hacking. You'll hear a lot of people talking about subs or posting about subs. That's sign-up bonuses. So when you sign up for a credit card that earns airline points, usually they say if you spend this much in 3 months, we're going to give you this many points. That's a sign-up bonus. And people use that acronym subs when they're talking about that. 524, you'll hear about that a lot in this world. And what that really means is that most people think that the Chase points are the most valuable points that you can get. And Chase only allows you to open 5 personal business cards every 24 months, personal cards every 24 months. And so a lot of people refer to the 524 rule, or are you under 524, that kind of stuff. And that's what they're saying is, have you opened up fewer than 5 personal cards in the last 24 months? MS stands for manufactured spending. One tip that I want to give you guys, and I don't think I go into it a lot more in here. Some of you guys might be thinking like, well, this is all cool, but I don't have any way to spend $10,000 in 2 months on a credit card to get one of those sign-up bonuses. So a lot of people use this trick called manufactured spending. What that is they get their credit card and then they go to Albertsons or Amazon and they just buy a gift card from Amazon for $2,000 one day and another $2,000. I'm sure everybody in here spends plenty of money on Amazon, right? Is that a problem with anybody like not spending much money on Amazon? So over the course of those 2 months, when you open that credit card, just go buy yourself a few Amazon gift cards, load them into your Amazon account, and you can just spend those out and you get the bonus points. You don't have to go out and buy garbage that you don't need. You can just put credits on your Amazon account. Or like the way that we do it is we always have projects going on, and so I go out and buy a Home Depot gift card because I know I'm gonna have to buy some materials or a new refrigerator or something. So there's a lot of ways that you can spend that money, and manufactured spending is one of those ways that if you just don't have a way to spend it, just go buy a gift card for a store or a website that you know that you're gonna spend money on. P2 is another term that people use. It just means player two. So they're talking about 2 people doing this together, a couple or partner that you're working with. YMV, that's a fairly generic term, but it's your mileage may vary. A lot of people say that when you're trying to get a credit card company to honor something that they told you. A lot of people say, HUCA, they hang up and call again, your mileage may vary. Like just keep calling and talking to different people until you get what you want. So you can get really deep into this. I don't nerd out about it. I don't call credit card companies and spend my entire day on there, but I'm just like, if you guys are researching it, you'll see these terms a lot. And that's what those mean. All right, so our personal strategy, like I said, we focus on earning Southwest points and Chase Ultimate Rewards. The biggest thing you can do, in my opinion, the best benefit out there in travel hacking is a Southwest Companion Pass. And it really surprises me when I talk to people about travel hacking how many people don't know about it. But a Southwest Companion Pass, it's a pass that they give you, and if you time it right, you can have anyone else you want can fly with you anytime that you fly for free. You pay for your flight with points or with cash, and then whoever you want can come with you for free on that flight. And you can do that for 2 years. And you can keep earning those companion passes over and over if you want. So my wife and I, we try to alternate it so that we both have one year, and then she'll have one the next year, and I'll earn it again. And so we both, like last year, we both had one. And so 2 of our kids came with us everywhere for nothing whenever we flew on Southwest. Companion Pass, I think, is pretty vital in Boise if you want to do international trips, like I said, because we're not an international airport. We're on Southwest, you can fly to Denver, you can fly to Phoenix. It's kind of a jaunt, but you can fly to Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. Ultimate Rewards, those are the Chase points. They can be used for anything. You can transfer those to airlines, you can use them for flights, you can use them for hotels, you can use them for short-term rentals, you can use them for tours. all kinds of stuff. And you can transfer those to like hotels. And sometimes when you transfer those points, you can get a bonus. And so you can do a lot of different stuff with those Chase points. The Southwest points, you just use those for Southwest flights. But with Chase points, you can use those for lots of different things. For us, so this is more of our personal strategy. For us, with 3 little kids, we have a 2-night hotel rule. Like if we're gonna be somewhere more than 2 nights, staying together in a teeny little hotel room is not good for anybody. And so a lot of times we'll if we're gonna be there longer, we'll get a little Airbnb or something like that. And sometimes you can use points for those as well. Like I said, we focus on volume of experiences, going out and doing as much as we can rather than luxury. We did fly first class one time, and that was only because I found an air flight deal, and it was, I think, $15 more for first class. So we flew round trip to Lima, Peru for $300 a person in first class. Wow. That was pretty cool. My kids keep at like now every time we go somewhere, they're like, when are we gonna sit up there again? And I just say no. We never check bags. It doesn't matter how long we're gonna go, we never check bags because it holds you up. You always end up bringing more stuff than you need. Airlines are notorious for losing bags. And even if you have your bag insured or the airline compensates you, if you're in a foreign country and it takes them a day or two to get your claim figured out, it's gonna be a huge pain. So we just don't check bags. Everybody has a backpack. They carry all their own stuff. If we're staying in an Airbnb, we try to find a place that has laundry, or we stay close to somewhere that there's a laundromat. We just do things that way. Did I talk about that picture? Oh, this is us doing a streusel class in Hungary. We were just in Hungary like 2 months ago, and so we took a class making strudels.
I thought it was a puzzle.
What's that?
I thought it was a puzzle.
We tore the dough. The woman teaching class was actually really annoyed. The kids tore the dough right here. Okay, so earning points and benefits. You can earn points in lots and lots of ways. Sign-up bonuses, like I mentioned before, that's the fastest way to earn a lot of points. A lot of people feel they use the phrase earn and burn, meaning that points always lose value. They're always worth less and less, just like the cash that you have. And so a lot of people say earn those points and just spend them as fast as you can. I'm cheap and kind of a hoarder, so I don't do that as much as I should, but generally that's true. The points do lose value over time. A lot of times airlines or hotels will say like, all of a sudden they'll just say, our points used to be worth a penny each and now they're worth a sixth of a cent each or something like that. So you just never know when that's gonna happen. So ways you can earn points, sign-up bonuses, daily spends. And so what I mean by that is like Chase has a shopping portal, all the airlines have shopping portals where if you log onto their website and go into the points section, you can click on links to go to Amazon.com or Home Depot or Old Navy. And when you buy whatever you were gonna buy, you get bonus points just by clicking a link through their shopping portal. And so whenever you buy something, I usually just log on there and just check real quick, and a lot of times they're decent links. That was for the shopping portals. For daily spends, there are certain cards certain categories, they'll just give you extra points. Like if you buy gas with a certain credit card, or you're shopping at a grocery store with a certain credit card, or you're going to the office store, they'll give you extra points just for those categories. Actual travel, you can earn points doing travel, but I mentioned here that's probably the least beneficial way to earn points. You don't earn very many points by actually traveling, which is kind of ironic. But you can get status, so you can get like free upgrades or nicer hotel rooms or that sort of thing by earning points that way. So if that's important to you, you can earn points that way as well. Referrals, which Joey just reminded me, I was gonna forget to say this, but you can actually refer people to credit cards and get bonus points that way. And so if you sign up for a card and you get your sign up bonus and you tell other people about it, or your spouse, your player number 2, wants to jump into, you can go log into your credit card and send them a referral link, and then you get more points when they sign up for the card too.
Do you have one to share with us tonight, Courtney?
It's funny, I didn't even think about it until Joey brought it up. But if anybody signs up for one of these cards, I have my email thing, you can send me an email. Hook you up with a bonus, I'll buy you lunch. So I mentioned player 1 and player 2 referrals and business cards and all that sort of thing. This picture is me driving a free rental car in Ireland, and my wife is laughing at me because it's other side of the road, other side of the car. It was not good. So Chase Ultimate Rewards. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Chase Ultimate Rewards. I mentioned the 524 rule already. Generally, people consider the Chase points the most valuable, and they start here. That's why Chase has people are aware of this, the way that Chase kind of limits how many cards people get. I'll say for the record, if you guys are in this world at all, and you've probably seen this, there are people who literally have like 80 credit cards at any given time, and all they're doing is like rotating through cards. I don't do that. That's way too much detail for my mind to keep straight. So I actually only do like 1 or 2 credit cards a year. I don't do that many. Sign-up bonus frequency. So certain cards will only let you get a sign-up bonus a certain period of time. Usually you can't get a sign-up bonus for a card in less than 2 years, twice. It's usually 24 months. Some cards are once every 48 months. But that's one of the cool things about, I'll talk a little bit more about the Southwest Companion Pass, but they allow you to get their sign-up bonuses once every 24 months, but you can also earn a Companion Pass every 24 months. So if you timed it right, you could have a Companion Pass basically always. I mean, you might have like a 2-week window here and there where you don't have it, but you could have it forever. Yeah, did you have a question?
So you were like, are you like closing the card at the end of 2 years and then resetting it, or?
Usually the credit card companies are less friendly to you opening up new cards if you close them right away. So the rule of thumb is keeping a card open for a year. So usually people wait until that first year, and then when you get that bill that has your first annual fee, just call and close it. And sometimes if you call to close it, they'll offer you like a bunch of points to keep it open. And you can say sure, and then call back the next day and close it. So there's a lot of things you can do, but generally if you open up a card and close it right after you get the bonus, they'll mark your account, but if you hold on to it for a year, you're generally pretty safe. Yeah, Amy.
Any idea how that affects your credit score?
If you're making your credit card payments, and I haven't had any trouble with it, we've been doing this for like 10 years, and I'm above 750, my wife is usually over 800, so
Okay.
hasn't affected ours at all. I hit the button again. Okay. Business cards versus personal accounts and how they affect 524. So business cards, credit card companies, they don't count the business card against you. So you can theoretically have as many business cards as you want. And also, if you don't have a legitimate business with an EIN, you can sign up for a business card using your social security number also. So just as a side note, a lot of people go out and they just go crazy with business cards, because if you're either doing manufactured spending or you have a lot of business expenses, you could go out and open a whole bunch of them. It doesn't affect your personal credit, and there's not really any limit, generally speaking. I mean, you might open, if you try to get like 10 from one bank at one time, they might say like, hold on here, slow down a little bit. But it's the personal cards where you usually run into trouble. A lot of the companies, like if you have more than 5 personal cards that have been opened in this 24-month period, they probably won't approve you. There are what they call premium cards with Chase, the Sapphire cards. There's preferred and reserve. They have different benefits. So I have one and my wife has one, so we can make use of both those benefits. And it's everything from like travel insurance, like if you use, I don't know all the preferred ones offhand, but I have the reserve, and so every travel thing that I book automatically gets travel insurance attached to it. You get a free Priority Club membership for airport lounges, and so like if you have a long layover, you can go into an airport lounge and hang out. Man, what else? There's a whole bunch of like little things, but I will tell you, we had to cancel a trip last year. We had a family thing going on, and we had to cancel a trip that we'd spent, I don't know, $3,000 on already. And I filed a claim, and it wasn't like they called me and said, congratulations, your money on the way. It took a little while and like some back and forth, but they paid for our trip. So it worked. And then there's a line of business cards under Chase they call Inc. Business. And I think there's 5 different ones, and each one of the Chase Inc. business cards has different benefits and different point earning structures. And so depending on what business you're in, you might look at those, but all of them have sign-up bonuses and then different types of benefits. Like I use the Chase Inc. business for a lot of stuff because of the type of business that we're in. I just get extra points for using it. So that's kind of my go-to business card, and then the reserve is my kind of like daily spend for personal stuff. Yeah.
I just was curious, you said type of business, I know you're in real estate, like is there certain things that you're getting that are real estate related that are specific to that you get a lot of bonus points on?
Yes, but it's in a roundabout way, and
Okay.
I think that's the next slide.
Okay.
So we'll see. I know that it's in here, so I'll answer that question. This picture, this is actually one of my favorite things. We were in Panama City and just like roaming around, and we came across like this neighborhood that was run down, and there was a bunch of kids barefoot playing soccer, and my kids went down and we just hung out for like 2 hours and they played soccer with these Panamanian kids. They don't speak any Spanish. They just were having fun together. It was a really cool thing to see.
Nice.
Are all of your points going into like the same bucket when you have multiple cards like that? Or are you using the points individually from each card?
So all the Chase points can go into one bucket. So you can combine all of them. So it simplifies it. I have some of the benefits here for premium Chase cards. So the reserve and the preferred. So with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, it has a high, I think it's $550 a year for the annual fee, but you get a $300 credit for travel. So if you spend $300 on airlines, hotels, cars, and I think they even count meals as travel, they just credit you back for the first $300 you spend. So the annual fee is really only like $250, and then you get priority pass. Like I mentioned, you get insurance. Credit. You get a credit for pre-check or global entry. Do you guys all know what pre-check is?
Yeah.
Do you know what global entry is? So some people don't know. If you have global entries, like when you're coming back in the country, basically you get to skip through. What's the word? Help me out.
Customs.
Customs. Thank you. And there's been a lot of times where we've come back and there's nobody in customs and no big deal, but there's sometimes where there's like a 3-hour wait and then it comes in pretty handy. Some people don't know that if you have global entry, you automatically get pre-check. Just so you know, you don't need both. So if you have a card with a benefit for both of these, just get the global entry because you get them both if you have global entry. I thought there was something else I thought I was going to say here. Oh, I will say the priority pass thing, it's kind of funny. So you saw that I have 3 kids, I'm married. The priority pass you're only supposed to have, with this membership, you're only supposed to get 1 guest. Every single time we go into a lounge, they've let all of our kids in, and they've never had anybody question me about it. They've never charged us anything extra. So if you have kids, that's a big benefit for sure, like being able to sit down and not have your kids running around the airport for 4 hours. Okay, so this is the slide that I was talking about. I'll answer your question, John. So earning ultimate rewards. This is kind of how we stack our benefits for ultimate rewards. I mentioned that the Chase Sapphire Reserve is the one that I use every day for personal stuff, and the Chase Ink Cash is the one that we use for business. This is going to get a little bit in the weeds, but the reason that I do this is the Chase Ink Cash card, you get a 5% bonus on whatever you spend at any office store, so Office Depot or Staples or anything like that. So we're in real estate, but a lot of our business expenses run through our property management company, and because of that, we're always buying materials for repairs and appliances and that kind of stuff. So whenever those expenses come up, it's funny, the people at Staples think I'm insane, but I go into Staples and they have this huge kiosk with like 50 different types of gift cards, and I buy a whole bunch of Home Depot gift cards, and every time there's somebody new there, they're like, Home Depot's like 50 feet away from here. Like, why are you buying Home Depot gift cards right here? And I've just told them, like, I get extra travel miles and go on trips, but I'm in there a lot buying Home Depot gift cards. Every time we need to buy a refrigerator or some baseboard or a door or anything, I'll just go in there and buy a $100 gift card or $500 gift card or whatever. You can go on staples.com and buy digital gift cards and they email it to you like an hour later. I do that all the time too. But you get a point per dollar for your spend, plus you get 5% for spending at that store. And then I go back and order the materials by clicking through the shopping link on the Chase portal, and you get anywhere from 1 to 4 bonus points per dollar for doing that. And so depending on how you do it, you can get basically 10% of the money you spend on that stuff back in travel credits. Okay. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Sometimes the shopping portals have bonus categories. So like every once in a while I'll just log on to the shopping portals on Chase or on Southwest. And sometimes it'll just say, hey, this restaurant is a $20 credit, or you get 15% return or something like that. And so depending, one of the pitfalls of this is sometimes people get all caught up in like, whoa, this shop that I would never spend any money on ever in my entire life is offering 20% bonus in points. So don't fall for that kind of stuff, but if you're on there and it's something that you legitimately are gonna buy anyway, then you might as well get bonus points for it. Okay, and so for your question, when you earn points on a specific card, it does go in a specific bucket, but when you log into your Chase account, you can transfer them into one bucket, so that all your points go into one bucket. And one of the benefits of, where did I have it on here? Okay, so one of the benefits of these Chase cards is Chase points, they're just a one-to-one value. They're worth 1 cent each. And so if you're just out spending money and getting a 1% return on it, you get 1 cent for each one. But if you transfer your Chase points to your Chase Sapphire Reserve account, you get 1.5 points for each one. They give you a half-point bonus on each one. So you get a 50% bump when you transfer those over. And so it's nice having that Chase Sapphire Reserve card because you get a 50% bonus on anything you spend from all those other cards that you might use. Okay. So increasing the value of Ultimate Rewards. And this is my 8-year-old riding a horse on the beach in Costa Rica. Which we did that for free too. We booked a little excursion using points to do that. So I guess as a side note for that trip, without going into too much detail, we flew from Boise on points to Costa Rica. We brought 2 of our friends, paid for their trip with points too. We stayed in a really cool Airbnb. We split it with our friends, but we did a whole bunch of like cool little trips there. We went ziplining for free while we were there using points. Went on this little horse ride on the beach using points. So I mentioned you get a bonus for Chase points when you transfer those over to one of those other cards. There are bonuses sometimes for transferring partners. So with those Chase points, you can transfer them to like, I think there's 5 or 6 different airlines you can transfer them to. There's several different hotels. And sometimes it's just a one-to-one value transfer, but sometimes they'll give you a 50% bonus. If you're watching and you're going on a trip and you want to use a certain airline or you want to stay at a certain hotel, if you pay attention, sometimes they have specials where they'll give you a big bump when you transfer those points too. So if you keep an eye out for those. You can follow travel hack sites, and there's all these travel hack gurus, just like they're in real estate, that they're always watching for these promotions and stuff, and they'll post, and you can kind of keep an eye on things for that. So that if that's kind of how I do stuff. I'm not out hunting for things, but I just follow accounts for people who post when something like that pops up. I would say on average we get 2 or 3 cents a point. Sometimes on those sites I'll see people getting crazy, insane values for stuff too. But generally we get like 2 or 3 cents a point, and that works out pretty well for us. And also I didn't mention, you can transfer points between family members. So if you have a spouse, anyone else that lives in your household that's also earning Chase points, you can transfer them to your account so they're all in that one bucket. How to use Ultimate Reward points, the Chase points. So, like I said, flights, rental cars, vacation rentals, tours, hotels, etc. My wife last year took our 12-year-old, he really wanted to go deep sea fishing, so she took him to Oregon, and they just drove over there, but they stayed in a hotel for free, and they booked a fishing trip for free using points. So Chase, the way that you book all of this stuff through Chase, they have their own, when you log into your account. Does anybody here have a Chase account or Chase Ultimate Rewards? So some of you guys probably already know some of this stuff. When you log into that account, they actually have their own travel portal there. You can book stuff directly using points instead of money. And it's basically Expedia. So I guess they have a partnership with Expedia. So when you're looking at it, everything's priced in points, but it's pretty much everything you see on Expedia. So you can do anything that you can think of you can do on Expedia, you can basically do using Chase points on their portal. And by doing that, you get, if you have that Chase Sapphire Reserve, you get a 50% bonus on those points. Like I mentioned, you can transfer to partners. Sometimes there are bonuses for that. With the Chase points, a lot of people think that Hyatt hotels are the best value that you can get. We actually just booked a trip. We're going, we're flying internationally, but we're gonna be staying in San Jose overnight or the night before our flight. And we booked a Hyatt hotel for it's like 6,000 Chase points, which is, it's almost nothing. Like most hotels, just so you guys, like Hilton Hotel would be like 25,000 Chase points. So that was a pretty good transfer. I've heard, I'm knock on wood, I haven't had any trouble, but I've heard horror stories from people who have booked stuff through the Chase site that they've shown up and they didn't have the reservation. And so I've made a habit of it, and I would encourage you if you do that, just call, if you book a hotel room, just call the hotel or send them a DM and just verify that your reservation is there and they're waiting for you. Also, something I've noticed is sometimes when you're on the Chase portal, the pricing is worse than it is on the public sites. And so I wouldn't necessarily just book something on there because, I mean, if you want to use the points rather than cash, that's fine, but sometimes it's a lot more expensive on there. And so a lot of times we actually we'll just pay cash for a flight. That's usually, we find that we get better deals on flights just paying cash than we do using points. So we do that a lot and then do everything else through the Chase portal. But every once in a while, you'll go on there and there'll be a better deal. So you just never know. But I always check like Google Flights before we book something through the portal because sometimes it's overpriced on there. And the value isn't great. You can convert your points to cash too. So if you have a bunch of Chase points, you can actually use those to pay your credit card bill. So if you want to do that and you're not traveling or something comes up and you're not going on a trip, you can use those points just to pay your bill if you want to. I think that's the high level Chase Ultimate Rewards thing. Do you guys have questions about that? Did I put everyone to sleep? Is it terrible, boring?
No,
Any,
it's
any questions about that stuff? It probably seems like a lot, but once you kind of get into the role of things, like it's pretty straightforward. Now, one thing I didn't mention on here is that Chase doesn't have one, but all the airlines have one if you sign up for their, whether it's Southwest Rapid Rewards or if you're using United Points or something like that, all of them have a widget you can put in your browser that when you visit a website that you can get bonus points for, a pop-up will come up and say, hey, if you're gonna shop here, do you want to earn Rapid Reward points or do you want United Airline miles? So you can put that widget on your browser to remind you when you're fooling around so that you get those extra points.
Corby, I have one question.
Yeah.
So when you're booking your flights, you're not necessarily just saying, hey, I've got a bunch of United points, I'm gonna go to United's website and book it that way. You're going through like the Chase portal and booking the airline that has the best point deal.
Yeah, generally, I don't have very many airline miles. We don't use airline miles directly to book many of those. What I do for ours is, I'll talk a little bit more on it in a minute, but we sign up for Scott's Cheap Flight or going.com, and so you can set up notifications when there's cheap flights to places that you want. And so when I get a notification, the first thing I do is go onto Google Flights and try to find, like, is this deal going on during a time that we could actually go? And if it is, then I'll go onto the Chase portal and see if the price on the Chase portal is as good or better than what I see in Google Flights. And usually it's a better deal on Google Flights. And so honestly, we usually pay cash for our flights because we get just stupid deals doing that. But you can do it for free through the Chase portal. If you have airline miles, you can use those. I just don't earn very many airline miles, other than the Southwest ones. So I already talked a little bit about the Rapid Rewards and the Southwest Companion Pass, but Southwest points are valued at approximately 1.8 cents per point, and Southwest is unique. All other airlines, they have specific point values for routes that they fly, but Southwest just does a dollar for dollar trade with their points. So like, for instance, United might have a route that it's just 25,000 miles to do that, and it doesn't matter what day you're going or how many stops you have. It's just that route is 25,000 miles. But on Southwest, if a flight is a certain amount, it's just going to be 1.8 cents per point if you book it with points. And Southwest, if you guys don't know, they have a very generous cancellation policy. And so whenever we book a trip, we just go right on Southwest and whatever it is, we'll just book it using points. But you can cancel a Southwest flight up until the gate closes for that flight and get all of your points back. And so we just watch, like I'll just jump back on maybe once a week or once every other week before that trip comes up. And if it's on sale, I just rebook it and then cancel the old one and get your points back. So Southwest is really good about that kind of stuff. So you can book flights and cancel them and kind of play around. And like Jonna and I went to a EXP conference in Miami last October, and I booked like 4 different Southwest flights for that were different prices and different times, and I just was like, I'll just figure out which one I want to go on a week before. And then the week before, depending on what was going on with the kids and what was going on at work, I just canceled a couple of them and kept the one I want. So they're really great for that. No other airline will let you do that, so Southwest is really great about that. Let's see, I think I already talked about all this stuff. Yep, free cancellation on every reservation. And so especially if you have a bunch of points, it's awesome because you don't lose anything by just booking as many flights and trips as you want, and you just cancel them. I've even heard from people that if they just don't show up at the gate, that Southwest will cancel the flight for them and put their points back in their account. I haven't rolled the dice on that myself. I didn't. So we just in October went to New Orleans, which I asked earlier, like your favorite like fun city. New Orleans is my favorite fun city, and Our two youngest had never been there. Our oldest, the one with the terrible mullet, he had been there when he was a baby, but we decided to go back because there was a really crazy deal on Southwest. It basically cost us as many points for the whole family to fly there round trip as it would have cost us to fly to Salt Lake City. So we just went. And that whole trip, we were there for 9 days. We're at Cafe Du Monde. Has anybody here been to Cafe Du Monde?
I have their coffee at my house all the time.
There's so many places that are these like tourist traps that you hear like, oh, that's the place you gotta go, that are terrible. Not this one. You gotta go. Oh
I've
my
never
gosh.
been there though. Just have their coffee.
So their thing is that basically they make these 20 donuts and then they put like 3 pounds of powdered sugar.
It looks like it.
And it's all totally fresh. And actually, it's funny because I probably went there for the first time like 20 years ago, and I remember thinking like how cheap it was. And it's more expensive now, but still, their orders are all 3 donuts, and it's like $5 for 3 donuts. So it's still like a reasonable thing. Anyway, so we did this entire trip. We were in New Orleans for 4 days, I think, and then we went over. I'd never been to Mississippi, so we just decided to go to Mississippi for a couple days. And we were in Mississippi for 3 days. We did a haunted French Quarter tour with the kids. We did a bayou tour and saw a bunch of alligators and snakes. And I didn't know there were raccoons everywhere down there. There were raccoons everywhere in the swamp. And then we went when we were in Mississippi. We did a shrimping tour. We went on a little shrimp, like a 2-hour shrimping thing. It was really cool. The only thing we spent money on that whole trip was food. That whole trip for 9 days, I think, was like maybe $800 or something like that. And we did a little dinner tour on the Mississippi too, when we were in New Orleans, and we didn't spend money on any of that stuff. So,
Wow.
pretty cool. Okay.
So that stuff, Corby, are you converting the points to cash to pay for those trips? Or the,
No, so this one my wife and I both had companion passes on Southwest, so we used points for my flight and one of the kids, and then 2 of them flew for free on the companion passes. So I don't know if I mentioned that before. The companion pass, you can bring somebody for free even if you pay for your own flight with points. So both of you are flying for free.
Oh, wow.
So we did that. So we paid for three of us with points, and then 2 of us came free with the companion pass. We stayed in like little. On the Chase portal, you can book like kind of Airbnb kind of apartments there. And so we stayed in this little apartment for a few days. It was right on the north end of the French Quarter. And then all those tours we just booked on the Chase site. You can go. When you go to the travel section of the Chase site, there's subcategories. And there's like hotels, flights, cars, experiences, and the other one's tours. And so if you click on tours, you can put in dates, and depending where, like if you're in New Orleans, you put tours, and there'll be like 800 things you can spend points on. And so we just did all that booking through the Chase portal, just using those points. So the companion pass, I talked a little bit about it. It's super easy to get, So basically, I might even, I think, is this 2, did I have 2 slides for this? Yeah, I do. I'll just talk about it for a second. It's pretty easy. If you earn 135,000 Southwest Rapid Rewards in 1 calendar year, you get a companion pass for the rest of that calendar year and the next year. And so if you do it really early in the year, you get it for 2 years, basically. And so there's a little bit of a strategy to it if you really want to make the most of it. And so what a lot of people do is they use those sign-up bonuses I was talking about. And Chase, they're Chase cards. I should have mentioned that. The Southwest credit cards are also Chase cards. So they'll have sign-up bonuses that, like, sometimes it'll be 30,000 points, sometimes it's 80,000 points. So if you keep an eye peeled, like towards the end of the year when they have a higher one, basically what you want to do is open up the card, and then you want to cross whatever